So it's day one. How are you planning to spend your time this year? If you have plans to create, be that painting, writing, making, I thought I would sit down and share the top 5 lessons I've learned on how to become a better artist, while I add to this page of leafy experiments. So grab a cuppa, put your feet up, and let's get started. And I know I said 5, but there's a sneaky bonus lesson that I couldn't resist adding at the end that is, in my opinion, the absolute cheat code for improving your skills and becoming the best artist you can be in 2025. Lesson number 1, split time for learning and time for playing. This is such an important one for me because I find that nothing kills your enthusiasm faster than there being no enjoyment in what you're doing. And to be honest, a lot of my favourite things that I've ever created have come about in times of play. Now sure, we've got to spend time learning techniques and developing skills, but if we're not applying them in an organic and flexible way through discovery, we're not really getting the benefit of spontaneous creativity. So make time for play, get your materials out, mess around, and don't worry about making something good. You'll create a lot of junk, I know I do, but sometimes you'll stumble on an absolute diamond, and that's where the real growth happens. Lesson number 2, explore until you find what it is that you really, really want to create. What do you look at and say, I wish I could do that? Do that! This for me was an absolute game changer, and it's not so much about deciding what it is you want to focus on, because there'll be plenty of things that you look at and think, wow, I would love to be able to do that. But it's more the permission that you give yourself to actually try, because that is the only thing that stands between you now and you creating great things, is giving yourself the permission to try. Allowing yourself to put a foot on that ladder and taking that first step is what's going to get you there eventually. Every piece that you create gets you a little bit closer to your goals. And you know what? Maybe one day somebody will look at your work and say, wow, I wish I could do that. Lesson number 3 is be true to yourself. The best artwork that you will ever see is created by artists that live and breathe their style. You've got to embrace what it is that makes your soul sing. It doesn't matter how technically good you get at something, if there's no soul, if it doesn't have that little spark of magic that comes from you, it just falls flat. If you have certain favourite artists or writers, you'll be able to see these little snippets of their artwork in them as people and them in their artwork, and the two become almost inseparable. This is another one of those things that making art or creating stuff that doesn't really vibe with your style is a little bit soul-crushing after a while. There's no satisfaction there. And when you finally do let yourself create what it is that you want to create, this is where the magic happens. Even if what you want to create are pages of plants. You just gotta be true to yourself in the process. Lesson number 4, discover how you learn the best and run with it. Now, there's a lot of different approaches to learning, and it's really important to find the way that suits you best. Some people learn really well through focused repetition, think like musical scales, getting that muscle memory of where your fingers go so you don't have to think about the process. Others find that approach too limiting and will learn better if they can spend time learning to play one single song. And this is where you discover what it is that makes learning a joy for you. Because before you get to being a great artist, you're going to have to spend a lot of time learning, and you really need to be able to enjoy that process. For me, I quickly found that painting small scenes that I could complete fairly quickly gave me the boost I needed to continue. If it turned out great, fantastic, paint another one. If it wasn't so great, well, then I haven't wasted a lot of time. But I do finish every single painting. Because I don't know if you've ever seen a gouache painting go through the ugly stage, but if I let myself abandon these poor, insane landscapes, I would never have finished anything. And this is just what I've found works best for me. And this leads on to lesson 5. Do simple things well. No one likes being rubbish at stuff, and when you first start out, you're full of enthusiasm, the magic of new beginnings, right? But the more time that passes without seeing improvement or feeling like you're getting better, the more this can eat away at your confidence and your desire to continue. The best way I've found to combat this is by doing simple things well. Start with the easier techniques and master them in your work. And I mean in actual paintings. They don't have to be big, but let yourself create a finished piece of work exploring a technique or following a tutorial. Over time, as your skills develop, you can weave a few simple techniques together in a project to create something more complex. The techniques that I use in my paintings these days are no different than the ones that I first learned when I began painting. They're just stacked together to create more complex scenes. Think of learning like a marathon, where every step is a painting and our finish line is to become a great artist. We don't need a single step to be amazing, nor should we stop and analyze a stumble, because in the grand scheme of things, all that matters is that we keep moving forward. And finally, my last sneaky lesson, lesson number 6. It doesn't matter what creative activity you do, whether it's paint, write, or make, do a lot of it. Paint a lot, fail a lot, learn a lot, and grow as an artist as the result. Taking action is the absolute cheat code for learning anything. And if you want to be the best artist that you can be, now is the time to start. While all these things apply to any creative activity, if painting with gouache is something you'd love to do this year, then check out Get Gouache. You won't believe the amazing things that you'll create with this quirky medium. Until next time, happy painting!